child, what's going on, y'all? How y'all doing? Oh, Juju. I was just like, why am I getting emails about that weird ass woman? That whose name I don't even say. We don't even put that person's name in the chat, and we will not do that because that's giving them attention. We're not here to do that. Oh, child. How y'all doing? What's going on? Y'all ready for this watch party? Because I am. Oh, we about to get to it. Laura Loomer. Come to the front. Laura Loomer, y'all, went in. She did a whole episode of the collapse of Candace Owens. Hold on. Hold on. What we doing? Wait. What's going on with the video? I had to set up.
If you suffer from an annoying ringing in your ears, also known as tinnitus,
yeah, I don't have.
Stop what you're doing and listen up. I will reveal a simple.
Okay, I don't have Rumble, so that's that. But she did a whole episode, and I wanted to do a watch party on it. You guys have asked, and so we are here. What's going on, Jackie? How you doing? Waiting on this one. Hats off to Laura. Francisca up in here. Juju, shout out to my mods. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Francisca, how you doing? Yo, it got wild. It is wild over here. Oh, Crisano says hi. How y'all doing? Some new faces up in here. Mama Sage up in here. S-Files. Oh, man. I shared the live on X. Oh, that would be good. Hold on. Let me see if I can see it over there. You tagged me in it on X. Let me just see if I can pull it up over here. Let's see. Because is her live on X as well? Or do I have to watch it on Rumble? Because I fear these ads are going to be a thing. Oh, where is she? Where is she? It's her. Okay, let me see. Does she stream to X as well or just Rumble? Okay, watch the full episode here. Let me see. No, it's gonna take me to Rumble. So even if I come from X, it takes me to Rumble. That's all right. We're gonna get to it. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me today. We had Scientology Sunday. We've gone in on Brandon Tatum, the sackless, spineless simp he is. Make sure you all check that out. We ended it with scripture and everything since he loves the Lord and he likes the Bible and he loves praying. But he can't seem to tell Candace Owens to stop defaming Erica Kirk. Can't make this up. So we're going to get in on Loomer Unleashed, where she's just going to go raw and we're here for it. Oh, man, y'all get your popcorn, get your Kool-Aid, go to the bathroom. We're going to skip past all the standby. Yeah.
What's really interesting is...
Let's go back. Y'all get ready for it. All right? Come on in here. Hit that like button. Y'all ready to go? I'm ready to go. Noah, what's going on? How you doing, Noah? I haven't seen you in a minute. You good? Now make sure I get all you all in. Colleen up in here. Don't stop up in here. S-Files, Tammy, how you doing? Oh, y'all. Let me tell y'all something. You can call Laura Loomer crazy all you want, but she has been dropping receipts. She's been dropping receipts even on George Farmer. Oh, George. That DUI was something else. All right, y'all. Let's get ready for this. We're going to play this all the way out. Hit the 4 where you can see it here. Let's go.
Good afternoon and welcome to today's episode of Loomer Unleashed. I'm your host, Laura Loomer. We are live right now on Rumble and X, so please be sure that you head on over to rumble.com/Laura Loomer, rumble.com/Laura Loomer. Hit the green follow button. Be sure you download the Rumble app on your phone, enable notifications so that you never miss an episode whenever I go live. Also, be sure that you head on over to X, follow me at Laura Loomer, and you can repost the live link that's pinned at the top of my page. And you can also follow my other account at Loomer Unleashed. Lots to talk about this afternoon, but why don't we just jump right into it? The collapse of Candace Owens. Now, this week, Candace Owens celebrated her birthday. And what's really interesting is, some people are wondering, oh, was this coordinated? Was this an ambush attack on Candace Owens? Because it seems like a lot of people were holding on to a lot of receipts and were waiting to take action against Candace Owens. And they decided that, well, her birthday was the perfect day to do this, April 29th. And you may have been following my X account over these last few days and seen that, Candace Owens, she is a woman who has 2 multi-million-dollar glass mansions. And this is a woman who likes to throw a lot of stones. And my advice to people who hide their multi-million-dollar mansions, glass mansions, in trusts from the Macrones is that you probably shouldn't be throwing stones if you live in a glass house or have 2 glass houses, because I don't know, maybe you are separated from your husband who's allegedly a homosexual. There's a lot going on there. But Candace Owens loves to attack Erica Kirk. She loves to focus on other people's families while pretending like she's got this picture perfect family herself. Now, nobody's family is perfect. Everybody has their issues. But when I confronted Candace Owens about a couple weeks ago about her husband and asked about his multiple accidents, because I've been sitting on a lot of these records regarding Candace Owens, she denied it. She said, oh, it was a fender bender. The police weren't even called. Oh, wow, Laura Loomer doesn't have anything on me. She doesn't have anything. Well, that's because they clearly tried to get his records expunged. And if you missed this reporting, then you can let's get the mugshot up on the front page here. I have obtained the mugshot. Now, I love using Candace's her own words against her. Like, she loves to do this whole thing where she pretends she's some kind of investigative reporter. And now she's crying because multiple people are filing lawsuits against her for defamation, including the Macrones and now Charlie Kirk's head of security. But you can scroll up in that tweet. And I said, I've obtained the alleged mugshot. Well, it is the real mugshot of Candace Owens' British husband, George Farmer, from his alleged arrest in Nashville, Tennessee. Well, it is a real arrest. We have the arrest report and the transcript from the 911 call as well. And I said, Candace, do you want to explain this to your audience, or should I? Now, Candace Owens loves to reply to my tweets over and over again, constantly taking jabs. She calls me Larry. She says that I'm a man. She, on her show this week, was insinuating that I had sex with the president of the United States because, well, of course, she thinks that because I was invited to travel on Trump Force One to the debate as a journalist, well, obviously that means that somebody must be having sex, right? Because, well, no journalist has ever traveled on Trump Force One. I mean, lots of journalists have traveled on Trump Force One. President Trump is notorious for giving journalists his number and for speaking to journalists and not having gatekeepers. So Candace Owens, again, with more unfounded claims, she should really watch herself, because I actually know where she's hiding her assets. I actually know where her homes are located. And people who are suing her, right, that's not a threat. I'm just saying people who are suing Candace Owens should probably be attaching her trust where she broadcasts her show from. The home that she broadcasts her show from is located inside the trust, which means you have a decent lawyer, you can attach that trust as part of your damages when you are in the discovery process of this lawsuit. So that's my recommendation to everybody who's suing Candace Owens, because, well, couldn't have happened to a nicer woman. Why don't we go ahead and play this clip? This was Candace Owens' reply to me dropping the mugshot of her husband without actually addressing the mugshot of her husband. And you'll recall last week, President Trump obviously was following my reporting, and he posted a photo. It's a real photo, by the way. I love how all the Candy clan, the Candace clan, Candy Crush. I don't know. What do we call them? We call them the Candy Cult, the Candy Clan for Candace. These people love lying. They will make any excuse to lie for Candace Owens. So when I posted this mugshot, the first thing they said was, oh, well, that's fake. That's obviously AI generated. You could just go read the comments on some of these comments that I posted. The mugshot's got almost 4 million views. And you can see here This is the tweet I was referencing. She said, "Oh, snap, I'm so scared, Laura. You found the name of the victim of a parking lot fender bender." She said that her husband only had a fender bender. Now, if you've ever had a fender bender before, a fender bender is like, oh, I'm in the parking lot of Walmart or Target and it's really busy and I was in a rush and I accidentally didn't check my blind spot and I accidentally backed up into a cart and dented my car. That's a fender bender. Or I accidentally, approached a stop sign a little too late. And then I accidentally smashed into, not even smashed, right? Like a fender bender is like a light tap where somebody accidentally like bumps into you. Like if they're at a red light and they're texting and they accidentally press the gas a little too hard and it hit the back of your bumper. That's a fender bender. A fender bender generally doesn't really require the police unless you suspect the person is drinking. A fender bender generally is probably under, $500 of damage. Like, that's what a real fender bender is. That's when people don't get the police involved. When it's like, oh, it's a little scratch. Why don't I just give you cash and we don't need to get the insurance companies involved? That's a fender bender. It's happened to me before. Someone scratched my car and they screwed up the paint and they offered to just fix the paint because they didn't want their insurance premium going up. This is not what happened. There's also multiple incidents, right? So here she goes. She says, you should just contact him to hear the crazy story, which cost our insurance a whopping total of $6,987.54. Well, these are two separate incidents. Now, what she's saying is the reason it cost her insurance a whopping total of $6,987 for a so-called fender bender is because the person that was in the car that her husband smashed into, not a fender bender, was injured. Right. And I have those medical records as well. So I have the records that prove all of this. And, look, I want to be respectful of HIPAA. So I don't think that it would be appropriate to release somebody's medical records. But I have the records from the court case is what I'm saying. Like not somebody's like private medical records. But so technically speaking, it probably wouldn't fall under HIPAA. But the records that I have were the records that are included in the case. And I was able to obtain these documents and it clearly outlines like that, the person needed, they needed to get x-rays, they had to get MRIs and they had damage. I mean, obviously there was some kind of physical ailment going on. That's not a fender bender. If somebody requires medical attention, that's not a fender bender. That is bodily harm to another individual. And simply bumping into somebody isn't going to cause that type of bodily harm. So she's being super disrespectful over the fact that somebody was actually injured and then lying about the fact that there actually was a separate incident, a separate accident that took place on August 10th, 2023. Now, George Farmer, Candace Owens' husband, was a green card holder. He is from the UK and now he is a US citizen. He obtained his United States citizenship in 2025. Why do I bring this up?
This is the strangest way I've ever seen to eliminate the parasite that causes type 2 diabetes. Just a 15-second native trick forces your body.
Well, I bring this up because in August of 2023, George Farmer was still just a green card holder, married to Candace Owens. Now, she loves to tell this sob story about how when they got married, she was paying for everything because George couldn't work. First of all, there's a lot of green card holders in America who are working. So I don't understand this whole lie about, oh, well, he couldn't work. But the most egregious part of this lie is the fact that her husband is literally worth like $250 million. Okay. He comes from a billionaire family. His father is Lord Michael Farmer in the UK. So they're worth a shit ton of money. So this whole like crime poverty shtick that she has going on where she wants to pretend like, oh, wow, I have to basically support my husband. Okay. Well, that's not true, but Candace Owens has her own reality, as we know. You can see the arrest report here if you scroll down and open up this tweet. And if you open up the arrest report, you clearly see that's his name. And this is a real arrest report. And the work phone, we'll get into this as well. I blurred that because I didn't want to dox anybody, and his license plate number. But what's really interesting about his license plate number is it starts with 88, which is 88. Now, Candace Owens is a vile Jew hater, and a lot of people have been wondering, like, where did Candace Owens get her Jew hatred from? Did she get it organically, or did she get it from her husband? And what I think is really interesting is she never used to even be religious, and then she started dating this guy who's Catholic, and they got engaged after 14 days, and now they're married, and then his license plate starts with 88. Well, you can look it up yourself. 88 is literally Nazi code for Heil Hitler. The number 88 is widely used in white supremacist numerical code for Heil Hitler, used by Nazis and racist skinheads. It represents HH, H being the 8th letter of the alphabet. It is often used in online screen names, graffiti, tattoos, and combined with 14 to represent white supremacist ideology. So I think it's really interesting that Candace Owens never used to be this Jew crazed, and then she marries this guy who some people think is a homosexual. I don't even know if, you know, their kids are their kids. I don't know what the relationship is there. I don't know why they're living. They have 2 separate homes that are 2.3 miles away from each other, worth over $12 million collectively, hidden in a trust. I don't know. I'm just asking questions, as Candace would say, right? She loves to say, I'm just asking questions. But what's really interesting is that the license plate starts with 88. And then, you know, I don't want to give the other letters of the license plate, but it appears to be some kind of a representation of George Farmer's birth date, like the month and the day. Again, I'm not going to repeat the whole license plate, but just know that, like, there's multiple things with this license plate that make me believe that it was custom, because there's multiple identifying factors within this license plate number that make it like, oh, it would be too much of a coincidence for it not to be a custom made license plate. Who knows? Maybe Candace will actually respond to this someday. Let's go back to the arrest report. Another thing that I found too is the work number that he put down on his arrest report is not his number. The work number is actually a number for a woman by the name of Savannah Jacoby, who is Candace Owens's personal assistant and I guess her manager as well. So that's Savannah Jacoby. And for some reason, her number is listed as the work number. See, that's Savannah. I blurred out the number, but, you know, I have her number, and that is the number that was listed by George. So for all the people that want to say there's typos on this form and, oh, why did they say his hair is black? Well, look, sometimes police officers can be sloppy, right? Police officers are working
I'm so
a lot
glad
of
she's
hours,
saying this.
and sometimes they just...
Okay, so y'all know I've already said about this information. I had to chime in on this. I got to chime in. I already said about this information. If you want to verify and vet it, you could just get a FOIA request in to the police department and have them send you a copy of the incident report, and then see if this is 2023. They may not have body cam footage. I have not had time to do the FOIA. I want to do the FOIA for the body cam. I just haven't had time to do it. But I encourage all the Candy Ass Code members, beat me to the punch. Beat me to the punch. Because Candace is not going to FOIA any of the stuff and post it up. She doesn't even want to speak on it. She just ignores it like nothing, you know, like it's was just a fender bender. You know what? She has spoke on it. She called it a fender bender. That means she acknowledged the accident itself, but she tried to downplay it. There's a difference. If there were no accident at all that he was involved in, she would have said he was never involved in any MVA. What are you talking about? He never totaled his car. There are no DUI charges on file with any police department, with any court. None of that stuff exists. She tried to downplay it by calling it a fender bender. So she acknowledged it. She acknowledged that he went out and was involved in a what they call a single vehicle crash. More than likely, he ran into a ditch. They didn't, specify he hit a wall or anything like that. He ran into a ditch off the highway, and he crashed his truck that way. But it did not say he had any impact with the wall, a medium, or anything specific. It just said he was coming out the ditch and the truck was found in the ditch. This idiot literally crashed his truck into a ditch. The front driver tire was gone. The truck was rendered as a total crash out. It was totaled. That is how bad he crashed into a ditch. That's how bad he did it. My question would be, did they do it to get some insurance money? Candace claimed in the response on X that she had to pay almost $7,000 because of that accident. That's what they had to pay the insurance. They wouldn't have you pay them because no one's deductible is that high where you got millions of dollars. So you're not going to pay them $7,000 in order for them to turn around and cut you a check for this totaled out car. And because he caused the crash, they would not have paid out that claim for what? His ass got up out the vehicle and walked along the highway. The police indicated in the report that he walked up to them to their police unit. So he wasn't hurt or injured. He was cleared when they had the paramedics come out to the scene. He was cleared through medical, and then they took his ass to booking. He got booked into jail. So he didn't have to stay overnight in no hospital, none of that. They cleared him on the scene, the paramedics. And then they put him in cuffs, put him in the back of the police unit, and took his ass to jail from there. And Candace tried to call that a fender bender. That's so crazy. The truck was totaled. They did not pay out that claim. So what was the reason? Like, what else could have led to him doing that other than him just being flat out sloppy drunk? They wouldn't have done that for money because the insurance company didn't pay them anything. They had to pay the insurance company. And they could just easily go buy another vehicle, cash out. They don't even have to get a lease on anything. They can just go buy a car. That boy got drunk, crashed into a ditch, and totaled out his truck. And as opposed to him answering questions when he was asked, his responses, according to the police report, was yes and or correct. That's it. So whatever information they could not get from the driver's license, they just kind of filled in just like the place of birth on there, where it shows Nashville, Tennessee. We all know he was not born in the United States of America, let alone Nashville, Tennessee. But he wasn't answering their questions and giving them any information. He was only answering them with yes or correct. So when they asked him, where were you born? He's saying yes. What's your phone number? Correct. Somehow he gave them Candace's manager's number, Savannah. I guess that was the only time he decided to talk. But he didn't give them his attorney's number. Go figure. I wonder why he would not notify his attorney they're supposed to have on retainer. Why wouldn't he call his attorney and say, hey, I just crashed my truck. I got a DUI, fleeing the scene of the accident. Oh, and possession of a firearm. Because, I have a firearm on me. Can you come bail me out? Why would he give them Savannah's phone number? What the hell is she gonna do? She can't even represent him in court. That's how crazy this is. So if anyone wants to verify and vet that information, contact the Nashville Police Department, get a FOIA request, get a copy of that police report, and get a copy of the body cam. Plus, you can get the police vehicle dash cam. Get all that in. And then you can put it out there and we can all see for ourselves if it all lines up. That's how you can vet this information. It's public information. It's that simple. That's where we are. All right, I had to chime in on it. Let's go.
Just accidentally write the wrong thing, or they're like transcribing it and it gets inserted the wrong way. When this originally happened and somebody had a front page of a police report, not the entire document, they actually had George Farmer's birthday listed in as the wrong day. And then Candace Owens said, oh, that's not a real document. My husband wasn't born on that date, but clearly she's a liar, right? She's clearly a liar because this is a legitimate arrest. This is a real arrest that actually took place and it actually happened. And,
And if his date of birth, which they got from his driver's license, was not correct, that means he lied to the Department of Driver Services. Because in order, when you move into a new state, you have to make sure your driver's license is obtained, I think, within 30 to 60 days. He would have had to give them proof of residence and everything. If he lied to them about his date of birth, which would be based on his birth certificate or his previous driver's license, that means he lied to a whole government agency about his date of birth. You can't give false information to the Department of Driver Services. They're still a government agency. And if you look at the back of the driver's license, you're certifying this information is true and accurate under the penalty of perjury. Did y'all know that? I want y'all to get y'all driver's license and flip it to the back, or look where your signature is. There should be a statute code where the information you're providing should be true and accurate under the penalty of perjury. So if you lie to them, you've lied under the penalty of perjury. What do you think that means, George? George Farmer. Look at your driver's license. Every state has that statement on there, and it should have a statute code to accompany it. You can't just go to the Department of Driver Services and give them false information that is supposed to be used to identify you to a government agency. You can't do that. You're lying to the government about your date of birth. Why? So, if anything, his date of birth on his driver's license is supposed to be accurate. It should match his damn birth certificate, or what at least he had previously on his other ID. My question is, why would you lie to a government agency under the penalty of perjury? Candace, you're still stupid. You and George are stupid. Got it.
So when George Farmer was arrested, you can exit out of the document. You can see here that he was subjected to take a breathalyzer test, and his blood alcohol content level was 0.261, which is literally 3 times over the legal limit. So the legal limit for drinking, if you're going to get in a vehicle, you shouldn't really drink and drive at all. Like personally, if you're having alcohol, you shouldn't drive at all. But if you're one of these people that drinks, you technically can drink until your blood alcohol level reaches a level of 0.08. Now, just to illustrate for those of you who are trying to understand what a blood alcohol content level of 0.261 looks like, we made a graphic. Now, let's turn to the graphic. Estimated drinks to reach. So for a person who is 6'2" and 180 pounds, they would literally have to consume 12 to 13 alcoholic drinks over the span of 4 hours, or all at one time instantaneously, like not even taking a break, just pounding them nonstop. You would have to have 10.5 to 11 drinks all at once. So it's not like George Farmer had 2 drinks and then, wow, he's a lightweight and that's what happened. According to police, his blood alcohol content level is 0.261, which means that he must have had about 12 to 13 drinks and then got in his vehicle. And then, well, we know what happened next. He totaled his vehicle. Let's go back to the tweet and show those photos from the arrest report and the mugshot. I was also able to obtain photos of his Ram TRX 1500, which is a really big, powerful truck. Like, this is a very big truck. And I'm getting messages from all types of men that are like, holy shit, that's the truck that he was driving. That's a $150,000 truck. Wow, that truck's a beast. And you can clearly see here that he was so drunk, he ripped the wheels off of his truck. So the truck is missing 2 of the wheels, and yeah, the airbag is deployed. He totaled the truck. This is a $150,000 truck that is completely destroyed. And I mean, think of what would have happened if a truck like that would have slammed into somebody. Now, the arrest report reports that he was seen getting out of his vehicle, out of his truck, walking around the highway shirtless, right? Or wearing a shirt, but with a backpack. And, you know, there were different accounts of whether he was shirtless or not, had a white shirt. We have the transcript of the 911 call as well. But I bring this up because if you read the transcript at the bottom of the arrest report and you read the description, The police officers clearly say, and let's go ahead and get that pulled up. The subject was unable to follow instructions and keep his hands at his side and his head still. The subject continued to follow the stimulus with his head and continued to sway in place. The subject also nearly fell into officers while attempting to follow the stimulus. Officers determined he would be unable to complete the walk and turn and one leg stand due to officers consistently having to support him from falling or stumbling. The subject was taken into custody without incident and Mirandized. Under Miranda, officers attempted to ask the subject how much and what he had been drinking, but the subject would only respond with correct. Because that's how hammered he was. He didn't even know how much he drank or how much he'd been drinking. He just said correct. You know how shit-faced you have to be to have a blood alcohol content level of 0.261? That is insane. Like for some people, that amount of alcohol in their system can literally kill them. And that's how drunk he was. He wouldn't answer when they asked him what his name and his birthday were. He would just say correct or yes. Officers observed the subject swaying while standing still, talking to medics. And when the subject exited the patrol car to walk to the stretcher to be medically cleared, he was unsteady on his feet and stumbled to the point of officers having to assist him to a stretcher. He then fell asleep in the back of the cop car.
George.
He said that the black Ram was...
Oh, George, you fell asleep in the back of the cop car? Oh, he couldn't hold his liquor. Yo, you would think his time in the Bullingdon Club, he would have gotten drunk, wasted, and enough to have a higher tolerance to that. George, that sounds so weak. You're supposed to be, what, 6'2", 180 pounds? And you were only 3 times over the limit. Yeah, can we bless God that he just crashed into a ditch and not other cars with children in it? Lord, we thank you that he did not hit another vehicle that had human beings in it because his selfish dumb ass decided to drink 3 times the limit for at least 4 hours. All because reasons. George, this is not the UK. You getting out on our highways here in the United States of America. You're not in the UK. This isn't the Bullingdon Club. We're not playing that nonsense over here with you. You got too many real men in Tennessee that will whoop your ass if they saw you on the side of the street. Stumbling over drunk, putting people's lives in danger. That's what he needed. He needed his ass whooped. Just being honest about it. George needs his ass whooped with a belt. Just for pulling that stunt. And you totaled your vehicle. You know how much damage you would have to do? You know how fast he would have had to been driving and how hard he would have had to run into that ditch for the front driver's tire to come off the wheel. It came off the wheel. I'm going to try to keep that in mind. The front driver tire came off the wheel. The photos show a rim, a wheel, no tire on that big ass truck. Do you know how hard he would have had to hit that ditch? Chop. George, you keep playing around. Them folks up there in Tennessee gonna catch wind of this. Oh, he like driving drunk. Well, okay, yeah, no, we got him, Lady Luck Club. Don't worry. Okay.
And was his vehicle. Officers could smell the smell of alcohol coming from the subject as they spoke with him.
Might like that.
We built a $49 garden hose nozzle that makes every pressure washer on the market completely unnecessary. Every pressure washer.
Rumble thing.
When speaking with officers, the subject would only answer questions with yes or correct. Officers responded to the single vehicle crash near exit 85 on I-65 northbound. Several witnesses called regarding a male in a white shirt and blue jeans with a backpack walking around the interstate and a vehicle in a ditch at this location. The subject approached an officer's vehicle while they were on the patrol before slumping over to it. Officers determined him to be the individual from the single vehicle crash. Officers asked the subject if that was his vehicle in the ditch, to which he initially answered no, but eventually confirmed the black Ram to be his vehicle. So again, there was a body-worn camera related to this arrest.
Can she get that? Get it, girl.
We definitely need to get that body cam footage.
Yes, get it.
So again, you can clearly see all of this. Like I've checked all of this out. The arresting officer, these are all real officers who work at the Nashville Police Department. Let's go back to the original arrest report. So pretty obvious that Candace Owens has a lot to hide. Let's go to the chat. I want to see what people think about this because, you know, look, she's constantly attacking Erica Kirk, and it's like, why is she attacking Erica Kirk when her own home life is completely broken? I mean, here she is saying that Erica needs to go raise her kids. Who's raising Candace Owens' kids when she's just constantly bad-mouthing Erica Kirk and lying about Erica Kirk? Who is raising Candace Owens' kids when her husband is getting hammered and getting DUIs? That's what I want to know.
Me too. Candace.
That's what I want to know.
Oh, Candace.
Let's scroll up. Let's see what people are saying about this.
Oh,
yeah, be sure to share this report. Candace Owens doesn't like getting a taste of her own medicine. But again, it's kind of not like her own medicine because she doesn't actually show receipts for anything. She just lies and lies and lies and lies and lies. And I'm going to play that one clip for you, but
yep,
that's all she does.
Hit that like button, y'all.
Somebody said, you also need that many drinks to deal with her if she's your wife. Yeah. I mean, look, I said yesterday, I want to be fair to George Farmer because, well, I feel like I would probably turn into a miserable drunkard as well if Candace Owens was my wife. Let's see.
Candace, are you ever going to tell us how that man got a black eye? Are you ever going to tell us, George, how did you get a black eye? George, you're going to have to at some point share that because one day your kid's going to grow up and see that photo. How did you get a black eye, George? Candace had a broken foot and you had a black eye. How did you get the black eye, man?
He said he probably had 8 to 9 alcoholic drinks. Regardless, that's way too much. It doesn't matter how many he had, whether it's 8 to 9 or 10 to 13, like the graphic shows. Too much alcohol, illegal, highly illegal. She throws stones from her glass house. Yeah, it's out of control. I'm glad the hunter Candace is being hunted. Many podcasters are posting info about her rotten life. Yeah, now she's going to get sued, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. It's not a coincidence, right? She flees the country after I expose her lawyer, and then her lawyer drops her. Her Zionist Jewish lawyer drops her, and then she just cancels her show and flees to Italy randomly. Please. Just, there's nothing organic about any of this. Now, what are we going to do? What's the next step? Well, I think that there needs to be a review by DHS and Immigration Naturalization Services to look into whether or not George Farmer violated immigration law. Why do I bring this up? Because as I said, when this incident happened, one of the incidents, I'm talking about the drunk driving crash. The other incident, well, happened before he was a citizen as well. So the point is you have to report any type of crash or any type of crime that you commit. If you get arrested, any type of anything, if you get in trouble with the authorities while you were on a green card waiting to get citizenship. And it doesn't appear that George Farmer ever notified the immigration authorities of his DUI when he was a green card holder trying to get citizenship. Now, this could be considered immigration fraud, potentially, right? An investigation would need to be conducted to see what happened. But it also leads to another question. And that question is, did they pay somebody off to cover this up? Was somebody paid off within DHS or within Immigration Naturalization Services to cover this up for Candace Owens and George Farmer? Because a DUI is a deportable offense for non-citizens, and it permanently bars most individuals from U.S. citizenship due to a lack of good moral character. So the question is how is George Farmer now a U.S. citizen, and who protected him? So I started to do some digging, and what I found when asking this question and doing my investigative reporting this week, speaking to a source, is that apparently, allegedly, George Farmer has 2 prior DUI arrests from the United Kingdom. So not only is he drinking and driving here, endangering the lives of American citizens, no better than one of these, Sikh truck drivers on a CDL, right? These Sikh illegal alien drivers that we hear so much about. Basically, that is what George Farmer is, essentially. He's no different. But he apparently also had 2 DUIs in the UK before coming to the United States. So then if that's the case, how did he even qualify for a green card? Because any type of background check would have revealed that he has a prior, I guess you could say, record of drinking and driving and endangering people's lives. This all would have been super disqualifying for George Farmer when he was applying for his citizenship. So again, I asked the question, who at DHS made an exception for Candace Owens and George Farmer? And given the fact that he became a citizen under, I guess it was 2025, that would have been under the Trump administration, who inside the Trump administration made an excuse for George Farmer? I think that the president should get to the bottom of this, especially since the president himself has been very critical of Candace Owens. I think that President Trump and DHS Secretary Mullen should investigate whether or not somebody was improperly paid off or somehow somebody turned a blind eye to the fact that Candace Owens' husband received a DUI and allegedly was in possession of a firearm at the time of this DUI while he was still a green card holder. That is the biggest scandal of this whole situation to me. Let's go to the chat and see what people are saying. We are live right now. Special edition. I will be traveling. And so I usually do my show in the evenings, as you guys know, but today's episode is in the afternoon. So be sure that you repost the live link. If you're watching right now, repost on X. Also be sure you post on Rumble, rumble.com/Laura Loomer, rumble.com/Laura Loomer. Hit the green follow button, download the Rumble app, enable notifications on your phone. Now, of course, the media and, well, social media has just erupted over this exclusive investigation I've conducted into Candace Owens and her husband, George Farmer. Meghan McCain, actually, right? See, it brings people together. When you have common enemies, right? It ends up bringing people together, people who you don't usually think would end up sharing a similar thought or opinion. So Meghan McCain actually has been very pro-Trump lately. So maybe she's seen the light. She tweeted that I should get the Pulitzer. That was very nice of her to say. But I think everybody is coming together and realizing that we all have this common disdain for Candace Owens, because there's nothing more vile than attacking a grieving widow whose husband was assassinated on live television several months ago. And instead of addressing any of this, what does Candace do? She goes out there and she falsely accuses me of having a sexual relationship with the president of the United States. That is a testament to how mentally ill this woman truly is. Let's go ahead and play this clip.
It has something to do with her having relations that she...
Before she gets there, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. Shout out to Juju for the $5 super. Let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes up. Y'all, it's a watch party. It is a watch party. We're having fun. I got some drink and juice. Get your popcorn. Get your Kool-Aid. Get your lemon meringue pies or whatever else you eat. It's Sunday. It's beautiful. Watch party time. Let's get back to it. Thank you so much, Juju. Shout out to my mods.
She went on to Air Force One years ago, as we all knew, and then began telling people that she had relations with Donald Trump. Again, it's Laura Loomer. So don't just take it with a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of crack cocaine, okay? But the point is, we are now able to demonstrate...
Candace, crack is wick. You have made too much money to ever smoke crack. Crack is wick. Whitney Houston said that, right? Crack is wick. What you mean? Take it with a grain of crack cocaine? That's a horrible reference. Can't you just say a grain of sand or salt? How about sugar? Candace. I can't believe this. Of all the time for her to use any reference, she says crack cocaine. Candace, you do realize those are the same things. It's just one has a lower grade than the other. It's all about quality. You should know. Candace, crack is wick.
That she's able to force the administration's hand. Okay. So do I believe?
This garden hose nozzle multiplies your water pressure by 15 times without using a single drop of electricity.
What she is going to allege, whatever they're afraid of, Probably not, if I'm being honest. But is she now threatening them into compliance, or she will make his life a living hell? As she says, I won't stop. I'll post your grandkids, your mother, your father. I won't stop until I get what I want. Probably. They probably just don't want to deal with Laura Loomer. Either way, that is
not the case at all. But I think everybody in the White House can't stand Candace Owens. And I don't want to speak for people in the White House, but I know many people in the White House, obviously. And Candace Owens is crazy, psychotic. President Trump really loved Charlie Kirk, and he also really loves Erica. And if you pay attention to President Trump when he gives his Oval Office press briefings, he literally has a photo of Erica Kirk behind his desk. So we put a photo up of him walking with Erica Kirk in his office. So again, Candace Owens just has to realize that everybody in that Trump administration has contempt for her. She truly is just beyond the pale. She is a disgusting, pathological liar. I don't know if she has postpartum psychosis, if she has late stage schizophrenia. I don't know if she's just a cunt and she's always been a cunt and she'll always be a cunt. I don't know what her problem is, but she's crazy. And I think that we can all realize Candace Owens is crazy. There's nothing that this woman says that is factually accurate. The other day, she's retweeting lies about me, calling me a rapist. She's saying things about my family members. And they're like, what the hell is this crazy lady saying? They don't even know. They don't even know anything about politics.
Candace, you calling her the R word? And you got the audacity to be mad that she put up, an incident report of George's DUI from 2023. But you're calling her the R word. What the hell? So when she defends herself and says, oh, you calling me the R word? Well, George was in a car accident and crashed his car because he got drunk. Candace, are you serious? How's that not fair game? Oh, stop it, Candace. She loves to play the victim. Candace, crack his wick.
Politics. They're not even involved in politics. My family doesn't even participate in politics. You understand? So it's just, they see these lies and then, they have people messaging them like, oh, did you see this video? And Candace is just making things up about my brother, making things up about my mother, lying, saying my mother is like, crazy, lying, saying my brother is permanently institutionalized. That is not true. Lying, saying that my father is afraid of me, lying and saying that my father has had me institutionalized. All of that is completely false. So it's really interesting how Candace Owens just fabricates stories. And as somebody, I know several people who have schizophrenia or they have family members who are schizophrenic. The way that she's able to just rattle things off like delusions of grandeur and not even care or have any kind of regard for the truth, it reminds me of people I know who have diagnosed paranoid schizophrenia and this whole thing about, oh, the Zionists are coming to kill me. I know I played this clip a while back and maybe we can find this clip again, but this clip when she's talking about how, oh, if something ever happens to her, blame the Zionists, but then she hires a Zionist Jewish lawyer, right? These are the types of delusions of somebody who suffers from paranoid schizophrenia. And again, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not going to be out here making these diagnoses of Candace Owens the way she tries to lie and say I've been mentally institutionalized and that I'm mentally ill. She's a liar. And there's no evidence to prove anything that she said because it's a complete lie and fabrication. Even my own father is literally on the record denying all of this when he was interviewed by the New York Times. They're just malicious. And then what they do is they train AI. So the reason why you see things repeated by Grok is because you have these bad actors on X who then train the AI models to repeat lies about people. Like they say the craziest things about me that are not true. And Grok will literally say that a photo of me that's completely photoshopped, like to make my face look distorted is, they say that this is a real photo. That's what they say. They say that it's a real photo. And you can clearly see my face looks nothing like the photos that they posted me online because they're liars and they try to train the algorithm and they try to train the AI models to lie and carry on their propaganda. That's what they do. And my attorney sent a 37-page cease and desist letter to X, like for respectfully asking that they please fix this. And we never hear back. We never heard back. We haven't heard back. So maybe I'll have to publish that letter. I don't know. Look, I don't want to have to get into it with X because I really enjoy using X and I really like X and I'm grateful that Elon Musk purchased it. But I'm also really tired of people maliciously training AI to lie and say things that are completely false and have already been proven false, right? So again, I've been a public figure for a long time. If any of these accusations were true, it'd already been out by now, and they're not true. They're lies. They're lies. And clearly the New York Times wanted to find out themselves.
But see, here's the thing. When you're being accused of the R word, which is a criminal offense, she would be in jail if that were true. So the act of defaming someone by accusing them of committing a crime comes with criminal charges. The question should be, why is she not in jail if that were true? Because the penalty for our word is prison. It's jail time. So why is she not in jail? There should be court documents. There should be charges available to the public to review. That's why when it comes to defaming someone regarding a criminal offense, you can't just say that and get away with it because there's a way to prove that to be true. And the absence of these criminal charges is what makes it provably false. That's how the court of law defines that. So Candace can say whatever she wants, but when she goes to court, please, for the love of goodness, Candy ass cult members, tell your cult leaders to stop filing for motions to dismiss and to stop stalling. If she really wants to have subpoena power, because she doesn't understand what that means, or get to the discovery phase, tell her don't file a motion to dismiss in this lawsuit from Brian Harple. Because that's all she's doing with the Macron lawsuit. If Candace actually had any leverage or ground to stand on, the last thing she should be doing is filing for a motion to dismiss. Candace, don't file that motion to dismiss. Just file an answer and keep moving, girl. It's not a mandate. It's an option for you, but it's not a mandate. You don't have to file a motion to dismiss. You can just file an answer and respond. And then go ahead and request for a hearing. Go through the discovery process. Why stall? Who's Candace's attorneys again? Because they're withdrawing left and right.
Themselves, which is why they contacted my family when they started seeing all these lies about me. And all of the lies were completely debunked. So Candace has nothing. She's got nothing. I actually have receipts. She has nothing but her delusions of grandeur. And it's sad because if she does have some kind of mental illness, like an untreated paranoid late stage schizophrenia, she needs to get help. She really needs to get help. I mean, listen to these lunatic rantings about how, look at the way her eyes are bulging out of her head. She needs help before she snaps and does something to herself, her children, or her husband, because part of me wants to know who's raising those kids. Are they riding around in daddy's truck when he's drinking 10 beers or 10 drinks and he's crashing his truck? I sure hope not. So who is watching Candace Owens's children when she's acting like a raving lunatic on the internet and her husband is getting DUIs and totaling his truck? Let's go ahead and play this clip.
Do you think it's normal, by the way, that basically every person who speaks about Israel has to basically say a statement that's like, I don't want to get killed? like literally, you start speaking about it, people are like, Candace, beef up your security. That's not fucking normal.
When did anyone have to say that? I don't want to get killed. Like, when did those words have to come out? What's she talking about? Is that video I missed? When was that ever said? And then somebody said, I don't want to be killed. Did I miss something?
Excuse my language, but that is not normal. Okay. It's not normal that people have to think about their security because, and by the way, so normal that then the way that you get comfortable with it is you're like, well, they shot JFK in an open car. So there's not, he's a sitting president. Obviously my security doesn't really matter. If they want me, they're going to get me. That's not a normal thought process to have. We don't have that about any other country in the world, except for the one that, took over ours. And that's the truth. Okay. We are an occupied nation. And if it's going to take women having to speak up and say that to make permission, to give permission to men to do the same, then I'm happy to be the first person. Okay. I just want to be clear. Anything happens to me, blame the Zionists. Like 1000% blame the Zionists. Like let that be my parting word.
How about if anything happens to Candace, you blame Candace? Why do we have to blame Zionists? And also, if you hate Zionists and you're so scared of Zionists and you're hiding out in your little, one of your multi-million-dollar homes in Nashville, why are you hiring Zionist Jewish lawyers? Why are all your lawyers Jews, Candace? Why? She doesn't ever address any of my claims about her lawyers, about her husband, about her trust, about anything.
That's why I'm curious to know that, Candace, why are you hiring attorneys that are Jewish? How do you explain all the stuff you keep saying about Jewish people to your own attorneys? You claim that they are always at your house or you're always in communication with them because of the Macron lawsuit. This girl had a full legal defense team. And with attorneys come paralegal specialists. She put their work address out. Candace is the one that put her own attorney's law firm location out on a video. We know the candy asses don't read. They don't care when these people are working. Candace put that out there. And we caught it here in the LLC. Why are you doxing your own attorneys? You can't make this up. No one was really checking for them. And I know I went over that myself because I said you putting these people's livelihoods at risk because you can't control your base. You don't know who's liable to go up there to that building and do something. Now they're withdrawing from her case. Like, that was the worst thing she's ever done. How did she explain that to them? Yeah, I said that all Jewish people are demons, but I didn't mean you all. Y'all are cool. What? You can't say that to your attorneys? Oh, man. Candace, you got some explaining to do.
She just calls me Larry. She wants to insinuate that I'm a man.
Yeah, that's all she can say.
How did I have sexual relations with the president if I'm a man? Which one is it, Candace? Am I a man? Do I have a dick? Or am I having relations with the president of the United States? She can't even keep up with her own lies because she's just a pathological liar. Now, obviously, neither of those statements are true. I do not have a dick. I am not a man. And no, I've never had sexual relations with the president of the United States. This is absolutely absurd. I literally sued Bill Maher over this. And unfortunately, a judge dismissed my case because the judge said, oh, well, it's comedy. It's a joke. I personally don't think it's a joke for people to say that someone's having sex with somebody. I don't. I think that it's very disrespectful to the president. I think that it's disrespectful to Melania Trump. And it's also very defamatory towards me, a young professional woman who has always been professional, and I'm getting married. And it's just simply not.
Laura, let me help you out, girl. Next time, play the interview that Candace did with Russell Brand, where she said that her parents kicked her out of the house at 14 years old. And that she went to live with her boyfriend for 6 months. And then ask her, how old was that boyfriend? Because Candace claimed she was 14. There's a way to flip this around because you can't control every little thing everybody says. I mean, you just can't. And I'm nowhere near as famous as, or notable or widely known, rather, as Laura Loomer or Candace. But sometimes you could just, let me take her words and use them against her. She said she went to live with a boyfriend for 6 months at 14 years old. Find out who that boyfriend is and how old he was. And why would he or his parents allow her to live with him for 6 months? Because what happened with that again, Candace? You want to clarify that? Your cousin debunked it. Your own cousin came out in an interview on Storm Monroe's channel and said, that's nowhere near true. She don't know where you got that from. But Candace claimed that she lived with a boyfriend for 6 months at 14 years old because her parents kicked her out of the house. And her own cousin, her own relative, came out and debunked her. We went over it. It's on the Candace Owens playlist on my channel. Y'all check that out. Ask her about that Laura Loomer. And ask her about that boyfriend. I would love to interview that boy. Whoever he is, I would love to interview him.
Not true. So I have a really big problem with the way that Candace Owens continues to lie. And I'm shocked that it took me having to get in the gutter with her. They say, don't get in the mud and roll around with pigs, but I literally had to get in the mud and roll around with the biggest pig of them all, Candace Owens. And it's just very sad to me that so many of these men, I'm not claiming that I was great friends with Charlie Kirk. Like, I knew Charlie Kirk for about, 12 years or so. I knew him really well, but I also am not pretending like I'm his best friend. But there's people out there pretending like they're his best friend, and they're not even doing anything to support his wife. So again,
the ringing in your ears could cause a total brain collapse in less than 2 years. Tonight,
if I have to be the one to put Candace Owens in her place, then that's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to put Candace Owens in her place. And further evidence that the White House cannot stand Candace Owens, Erica Kirk addressed the lies that were being spewed about her this week. We can go ahead and play this clip. It's about an 8-minute long clip. So again, I think you should listen to everything that she says. People are mocking her. People are attacking her. They're attacking her appearance. They're attacking her choice of outfit. But even the press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, retweeted the video, and she said, "God bless you, Erica Kirk." Candace Owens has no respect from anybody inside the White House. The only person that respected Candace Owens was the person leaking to her, Joe Kent, who is a raging neo-Nazi sympathizer, and he's a lunatic, Bernie bro communist who is so mentally ill and so mentally deranged. He goes around falsely accusing American citizens like myself of being Mossad agents, and he blames the Jews for killing his wife when his wife was literally killed by ISIS. So those are the types of people that Candace Owens talks to. The lunatics who work at ODNI under Tulsi Gabbard, these freaks of nature, these radical left people who have been accused of being Russian assets and full-blown communists. That is who Candace Owens is talking to. And it's not a surprise that she would find commonalities with people who have been accused of being Russian assets when she has Alexander Dugin retweeting her and Russian state media promoting her all over social media. So again, what's going on here, right? How could anybody in the White House have any respect for Candace Owens? She doesn't have any sources in the White House. There's nobody in the White House that talks to Candace Owens. Joe Kent was the only person, and now he's under FBI investigation for allegedly leaking classified information to people. And we know that he's a leaker to Tucker Carlson as well. Okay, we know that. President Trump has already slammed Tucker Carlson, he slammed Candace Owens, and he has slammed Megyn Kelly, and he's also slammed Joe Kent, mocking Joe Kent for not really being a very smart guy. He said he only gave him a job because he felt bad for him because his wife was literally killed by ISIS. And then, well, Joe ran for Congress, but he got exposed for palling around with neo-Nazis. So he lost his race. He literally lost his congressional race for palling around with Nazis. So then obviously Tulsi Gabbard hires him, right? Because, well, how do you get more qualified than palling around with neo-Nazis? That's the statement that Donald Trump said. I mean, it seems to be the trend now, right? You have Graham Plattner in Maine, this new Senate candidate, the Democrat Senate candidate who's got a literal Nazi tattoo on his chest. And the Democrats are campaigning with him today for May Day. So that seems to be the quickest way to gain political prominence and political power now on both sides of the aisle. Just act like a total Nazi. Just act like a total Nazi, whether you're Joe Kent or whether you are Candace Owens or whether you're Tucker Carlson or Graham Plattner. And it's really interesting because Tucker actually, aside from having a home in Florida, he also has his main residence in Maine. So how long is it going to be before we see Nazi Graham Plattner on Tucker Carlson's podcast talking about how amazing his Nazi tattoo is, or talking about how we need to round up all the Jews? I would not put it past Tucker Carlson. So I would not be surprised if in the next few days or weeks, we see Graham Plattner on Tucker Carlson's podcast and they're going shooting together or doing something together in Maine. And Tucker's trying to normalize him as an America First candidate because he attacks President Trump. He attacks the Jews, everything that Tucker Carlson likes. If you attack the Jews and you attack Trump, Tucker will endorse you, even if you have a Nazi tattoo on your chest. Let's go ahead and play this clip that Caroline Leavitt replied to of Erica Kirk from her show the other day, addressing the political violence that she was subjected to at the White House Correspondents' Dinner over the weekend, where a gunman who was radicalized by the woke right and the radical left horseshoe theory, right? The same people pushing the lie that President Trump's a pedophile, that he's controlled by Israel. Horseshoe theory remains totally undefeated, you guys, undefeated. Here's Erica Kirk explaining what happened and talking about the consequences of people lying about her and how it feels when she has to wake up every single morning to a new lie about her that is really being promoted by people like Candace Owens.
Seems to me that nothing will ever be enough for the evil in this world. Our country has become unrecognizable. These people have perverted the truth to the point that they motivated the murder of my husband. They have continuously tried to assassinate the president, and anyone who stands in their way is labeled hateful, racist, fascist, and every other trigger word that is grossly dishonest. We want the best for our country. They don't. This is why Charlie started Turning Point USA in the first place. He didn't trust the radicalized liberal teachers. And this past Saturday, it was a school teacher, of all people, a school teacher that attempted to change our history for the worst with bullets. And everyone is asking why I even went to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And it was because many of the journalists in that room have attempted to dehumanize me. And I wanted to meet some of them face to face, quite frankly. Why have a conversation about me when you can have a conversation with me? So, for example, a journalist from the Daily Mail came up to me. She introduced herself and she was very gracious. She was saying, "You look so beautiful. I'm so sorry for your loss." To which I replied, "It is so nice to put a name to the face, especially with all of the slander, the lies, accusations that are out there surrounding my husband's murder and myself." And I said to her, "You know what's so interesting? This is my first time at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And I find it so fascinating, the dynamic that is going on right now, because everyone is all dressed up and you guys are co-mingling in and out of each other's cocktail parties. And so for one night, you are able to put aside all of your differences for the sake of freedom of speech. And then by Monday morning, things will go back to being an absolute bloodbath between all of you." To which she replied, literally, she said, "I know. Isn't it special, right? Isn't tonight so special?" And following that conversation, it was time to take our seats and we went into the big ballroom where the dinner was. And one of the first things I noticed when I walked into that room was quite literally the proximity of the opposing outlets to one another. So you have one table here that's Politico, and another table here that's Fox, and another table here that's WAPO, and you're all crammed together, elbow to elbow. And to make the night even more of a spectacle, every single 10-person table had 10 bottles of wine. And the president of the White House Correspondents Association, she did a great job of trying to make the evening have that feeling of Americana. You know, we were in a room celebrating freedom of speech despite our differences. And the U.S. Marine Band performed the national anthem so beautifully. And then shortly thereafter, gunshots rang out and total chaos ensued. And you guys have all seen what happened next because there are 1,000 videos of it. So let's discuss that fact for a second. If you were in that room, you had no way of knowing what the status of the shooter was, how many there were, or honestly, really anything. It was just utter chaos. And so during an active shooting, these journalists are using their phones to find moments to capture for clips. They were so concerned about getting a video in a room with an active shooter that they could have accidentally and quite literally filmed themselves being shot. Many of those people have become so desensitized that fight or flight became secondary to the opportunity of putting themselves into the story, which ironically breaks the #1 rule of journalism. And again, ironically enough, the shooter was a teacher. You have these people who are supposed to be teaching our children the future of this country, and he's so unhinged that he is able to teach children by day and then attempt to murder the president of the United States by night.
2 ex-NASA engineers just created a portable AC that is making old expensive models obsolete.
And in his manifesto, he starts by contextualizing himself by saying, I am a citizen of the United States of America. And while we may have big problems with illegal immigration in this country, I have to tell you, we have an even bigger problem when it comes to the systemic indoctrination and radicalization of our own citizens. This is what got my husband killed. This is what has led to 3 legitimate attempts on President Trump's life. And I can speak firsthand to that unbearable toll that this must take on our First Lady. There has never been a president who has faced this many assassination attempts in Americans' entire history. And after each one, the reaction from the far left has been, at best, a shrug, and in some cases, a sick disappointment that the shooter was unsuccessful. We are all human beings. And if you can just pause and just take a minute and ask yourself, how would you feel if even just one person made cruel jokes about the attempted murder of your loved one? That is what Jimmy Kimmel did to the First Lady. He said that she had the glow of an expected widow. The glow of an expected widow. Just 48 hours before that nightmare almost became a reality. And this culture we're living in absorbs disagreement as a form of personal betrayal. It turns having an opposing viewpoint into a moral crime worthy of punishment. And here's what I've realized through all of this, truly, having lived through quite literal hell.
Hey, that's a good question. I'm generally apolitical. I believe in aligning myself with those who want the best for Americans, for people in general. I don't consider myself to be Republican versus Democrat. I don't want anyone to put me in a box. On Judgment Day, God will not be asking you if you're Democrat or Republican or who you voted for. I believe in doing what's right for people in general, taking care of each other, and looking out for one another. Right is right and wrong is wrong on either side. And I want to always be one where I can have that freedom to call it out. So that's what is so baffling about Candace. She claims to be apolitical in one video, and in another video, she's a conservative. In another video, well, I used to be, Democrat and a liberal and this, that, and the third. Like, she can't even pick and choose it. So those are my views. Just vote for your conscience. Any candidate you're considering, question them. Ask them about their platform, their policies, and what do they plan on doing that can help you in your everyday life. That's pretty much that. That's where I am. Hope I answered your question. Thank you for tuning in. Shout out to you all. That like button. Let's get back to it.
All these past 7 months, if you strip someone of their humanity long enough, you will arrive at the chilling conclusion that they don't deserve to exist at all. Every morning I wake up to a new headline lying about me. I have comedians dressing up in whiteface. I have people saying I'm not fit to be CEO. And I have Candace Owens claiming I murdered my husband. And the list goes on and on and on. There is a serious epidemic of dehumanization plaguing this country. The most unthinkable tragedies have now become commonplace in our daily headlines, and yet the media finds a way to conveniently explain away violence. This is what we're up against. This is what we're up against. What is happening right now is something none of us can afford to ignore. The evil forces working to divide us, to distract us, and to pull us apart has never been stronger. This is a moment for Americans to come together and decide what kind of country we are going to be before we lose our country altogether. In Romans chapter 12, verse 21, it says, "Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." And this is why my husband created Turning Point USA, so we could have civil discourse and debate and open dialogue, because when we stop talking to each other, bad things happen. I am choosing to fight for America, for my children, for your children, and for our humanity, because we all need to do our part. And by the grace of God, we will succeed, and America will remain what she was always called to be, a shining city on a hill, a light to the world. So let me give you a perfect example of how it's done. My husband did it best and left us the blueprint on how to have uncomfortable conversations with those who disagree. Buckle up, everybody. Here we go.
Everything that she said is perfectly reasonable. But of course, as she said, we live in a country plagued by an epidemic of dehumanization. So of course, now there's all these people mocking her, saying she dressed like an assassin, making fun of her for delivering a very respectable, very heartfelt and serious message about political violence in our country. So again, it is depraved, and the ringleader of all of this is truly Candace Owens, and it needs to stop. And now Candace Owens is starting to actually face some consequences for her vile behavior that she's been engaged in since Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Andrew Colvett, the spokesperson for Turning Point USA, decided that he was going to post some receipts of his own when Candace Owens responded. Candace Owens responded to this clip posted by Erica Kirk. So Erica makes this video address, and then everybody starts attacking Candace and saying, leave her alone. And they're like, wow, this is great. It's the first time that Erica's really like actually going after Candace and calling her out for what she's doing to her. Because a lot of people have been wondering, why is Turning Point so quiet? How come Erica has been so quiet? How come more people from Turning Point aren't speaking up about what Candace Owens is doing to Erica Kirk? Well, that changed, and Candace Owens profusely denied. You can scroll down and you can see Candace Owens profusely denied and said, well, very uncomfortable to watch, painful prompt to read. Let's open up her tweet there. A speech clearly written by someone else, objectively terrible, so they will now have to pay for people to tell us otherwise. Also, of everything I've ever said about Erica, she chooses to respond to something I never said. They always lie. Well, Candace did, in fact, say that Erica Kirk played a role in killing her husband. She actually has privately said to people that Erica Kirk killed her husband. In fact, Andrew Colvett released this text message between Candace Owens and Aubrey Leitch. And Aubrey Leitch, of course, was the former TPUSA employee who worked for Andrew, who leaked information to Candace. And in the screenshot, you can clearly see that Audrey is blue and Candace is gray. And she says, geez, that's crazy. I'm so intrigued to hear how it goes. This is around the time when the reports came out about how Candace Owens and Erica Kirk were going to have their own private meetup in Nashville. And Erica Kirk agreed to meet with her. And people thought, okay, well, they're going to bury the hatchet. This is going to be the end of it. Candace Owens is going to stop. That's going to be it. But no, Candace Owens continued to double down even after she had this meeting with Erica Kirk, continued lying about Erica Kirk and Turning Point in an even more grotesque manner than before. And so you can see that Candace says that she's coming here as in Nashville, and yes, they will need to prepare. And Audrey replies and says, geez, that's crazy. I'm so intrigued to hear how it goes. I've got your back. Go Max. Like, go crazy, right? And then Candace goes, I'm asking everything. First question, why did you murder your husband? With a laughy face emoji. So Candace lies and says that she never asked her, like, why did you murder your husband? But she clearly has been saying that Erica murdered her husband. She's also insinuated it on multiple occasions. And we actually have a video compilation dating all the way back to October. Now, Charlie died on September 10th, as you know, 2025. And from October onward, from October till present day, we have clips of Candace Owens insinuating that Erica Kirk murdered her husband. Let's go ahead and play this video compilation.
But I'm starting to think that the assassination of Charlie Kirk was something akin to a regicide, right? The assassination of a king to install a new ruler who the king would have never approved of. Anyways, back at headquarters, I am told it's business as usual. And it's kind of giving me like, I don't know, LBJ when he gets sworn in that famous picture. Unfortunately, sworn in. Unfortunately, of course, he's sad in this photo. Gosh, he's obviously not wanting to be the president of the United States. JFK was shot and killed. And now LBJ has to step up, unfortunately. But I gotta be honest, I wasn't there. I don't think LBJ was actually that upset. I don't know why. Vibes. The vibes just aren't vibing for me in that picture, knowing, as I do, and as Charlie did believe that LBJ was involved, which then implicates the feds as having been involved, which then implicates the Dallas police station as being involved. I believe Israel was obviously involved.
Cool any room in 90 seconds with this NASA-engineered affordable device. It's smaller than a toaster.
They were the ones that wanted him dead. When Ben came out swinging, I was going, oh, something's very wrong here. Basically, Erica here is pulling the LBJ. And what I mean by that is as soon as LBJ got into office after JFK's assassination, he reversed course on every single one of JFK's policies. JFK's enemies seemingly became LBJ's friends. Erica appears to be doing that to me.
So clearly she has made this insinuation and this claim privately. I mean, what else is Candace Owens texting people privately if that's what she's saying to Aubrey? Oh, I'm going to ask her first question. Why did you murder your husband? So, but now Candace Owens, instead of addressing all of the receipts that are being presented to her about her husband, her home, her trust, her Jewish lawyer, the DUI, her text messages, now she's offering a cash reward for something that will never be able to be given to her because, well, it doesn't exist, right? She says that she wants proof that Erica Kirk was actually staging and pretending to be distraught when she fled the White House Correspondents' Dinner crying, and she said she wanted to go home. I believe we have that clip. We can get it pulled up. Candace Owens is now offering $10,000. That's what she's saying. She says that the dinner was staged. And Candace is now spending her time fabricating this deranged conspiracy about a grieving widow to distract her audience from all of these receipts that are coming out about her, because she's really honestly been able, it's like a modern day cult, right? She truly is the female Jim Jones. And just like he poisoned all of his cult leaders.
Oh, Laura, you know you could have given me credit for that. Who else is this saying Candace is the black female version of Jim Jones? How many times have I said that? Are you kidding? Come on, Laura. You got to give me credit on that one, girl. You got to give me that one.
Leaders with cyanide and they drank the Kool-Aid. These people who watch Candace Owens, a lot of them are stay-at-home moms, all right, women. They are literally poisoning their brains and giving themselves brain rot by drinking her conspiratorial Kool-Aid. It's the same thing. And a lot of these people are going to die. They may not physically die in the sense that I'm not saying that someone's going to kill them, but their behavior is becoming so toxic that it's going to kill their social circle. It's going to cause people to maybe fire them. Like, people are posting deranged things online and having crazy outbursts about Charlie Kirk's assassination, saying things like, oh, President Trump needs to kill Turning Point USA. Like, these are established people too. They're not kooks. These are people who have jobs, they have families, they're married to very successful people. Okay, so we're not just talking about a bunch of incel weirdos who are playing video games at 5 a.m, sitting in their mom's basement, making weird comments online. A lot of these people who have made these derogatory comments about Erica Kirk and who are simping for Candace Owens are established people. And so she's leading them to their metaphorical death because she's going to alienate these people from their family members who think they're crazy. She's going to get people fired because of, the things that people now feel emboldened to say online, thanks to Candace Owens. So she really is like a modern day cult leader in many ways. I think that when this is all said and done and she loses her lawsuit or lawsuits, right? Because multiple lawsuits have been filed now, including a lawsuit yesterday by Charlie Kirk's former head of security, who Candace Owens accused of playing a role in Charlie's assassination. There's going to be studies like, how did Candace Owens basically get one of the largest podcasts in the world by brainwashing women? brainwashing women in the same time slot that Oprah Winfrey and Rosie O'Donnell used to broadcast their show on television, because there's no more shows on television around that time slot now for women who are housewives who are getting ready to go pick their kids up. They're literally watching Candace Owens. Candace Owens is like the conspiratorial YouTube version of like an Oprah and Rosie O'Donnell. And I remember being a kid and, you know, all the women used to go and watch that. That was around the same time. It was the hours before the women would go and pick their kids up from school around 4 or 5 o'clock. And that's the time slot that Candace does her show in between 1 and 3. And that's the same slot that all of these women's shows were appealing to. You know, you can see here. The Oprah Winfrey Show concluded, while it was historically syndicated in afternoon slots, often 3 p.m. or 4 p.m., it's no longer in production. Candace Owens runs her show in between 1 and 4 p.m. Okay, so sometimes at 1, sometimes at 3. And that's what she does. And so she literally has co-opted this audience. And Candace Owens always used to tell people, I want to be the next Oprah. I want to be Oprah. I want to be Oprah. I want to be Oprah. And that's what she's done. She's basically taking over her shows, like her time slots. You can see she's taking over the time slots. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Candace Owens chose that time slot. I really honestly think that she's trying to target women, specifically housewives and mothers and stay-at-home moms and women who just have nothing better to do than wait for their children to come home and wait for their husbands to come home from work. And so they're watching a bunch of conspiratorial garbage. That's what I think. I truly believe that, because I sometimes wonder, how was she able to brainwash so many women? And it's like these mean mommies, and she calls them mommy sleuths. Like, oh, I'm talking to my mommy sleuths, my mommy sleuths. She's been able to brainwash and turn middle-aged women, housewives, into a bunch of mean girls who are shit-talking a widow who is now forced to raise her 2 children alone. These are women. These are women with children who are just engaged in a dog pile of a woman whose husband was the leader of a political organization, and now she's trying to carry on her husband's legacy. And this is what Candace Owens has trained these sick women to do who follow her. It's sick. It is like a cult following. And some people described Oprah Winfrey's following as a cult following too, like these women that would go crazy and watch her show every single day, right? But it's the cult of personality. But I would say that what Candace has done is way more sinister. Like Oprah Winfrey simply had a show and women were like addicted to watching her show and they found it to be so relatable. But Candace Owens is engaged in some kind of like psychological warfare, emotional programming, emotional blackmail. I mean, the way that she is getting these women hooked on her emotional abuse of a mother and a widow, it's deranged. And I think that over time, people are going to study it, especially if something ends up happening to Erica Kirk, God forbid. But the way that Candace Owens is radicalizing these people, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody did pick up a gun or pick up a knife and try to harm Erica Kirk. Somebody already did. One of Candace Owens's followers, when she said that Erica was a robot and if you stabbed her with a knife, she wouldn't bleed, said, oh, I volunteered to do the job. So Candace Owens is radicalizing people, and I really fear for the worst with the way that she has radicalized so many people with her show and with her conspiracies and with her lies.
I have a question. Why would Candace admit that she has sources and contacts that live in Erica Kirk's building? Why say something like that? That's legally defined to be stalking. Why would she even say that? Who says that? Who says, I have sources and contacts that live in your building? When has that ever been said? Have y'all ever heard Erica Kirk say that? At all? About Candace Owens? Candace Owens admitted to having sources and direct contacts, obviously, that live in her building. I snipped the video. Why would she say that is the question? Why? What grown woman needs to put out there that she has sources and direct contacts that live in another grown woman's building to whose bills she does not pay?
Let's go ahead and pull up this lawsuit from Brian Harpole, the former head of Charlie Kirk's security. He's now officially filed a defamation lawsuit against Candace Owens and Mitchell Snow. Now, Mitchell Snow is the guy who said that, Erica Kirk was at Fort Huachuca and they were planning to kill, that's where they were planning to kill Charlie Kirk, right? Totally unfounded, but this is what Candace Owens had on her show anyway. She spent months destroying her own reputation with these unhinged and fabricated lies about the Kirk family and their inner circle. And now the tables have turned, and Candace Owens is finally facing some legal repercussions. Brian Harpole, former head of Charlie Kirk Security, has filed a defamation lawsuit against Candace Owens and Mitchell Snow. More are certainly on the way. Yes, more are certainly on the way. And you can see that the lawyer who is representing them is from Harmeet Dillon's firm. And you can see they're suing Candace Owens LLC, George Tom, and Mitchell Snow. Now, George Tom is the company that helps Candace Owens run her company, and that is her husband's LLC, right? And that is one of the companies that's listed within the trust. And because they do their show from the home that's listed in the trust, and the trust paperwork is tied to this George Tom Inc. account, technically speaking, for any kind of damages, they could attach the trust. And that was the whole reason why Candace Owens was hiding this trust and hiding her assets in a trust, hoping that nobody would find out that all this money, upwards of over $12 million of real estate, was in this trust. So hopefully my reporting is assisting some of these lawyers now so that they can go after Candace Owens and her husband and get all that money that they're hiding. And God only knows if they have money overseas. Who knows? I mean, the guy's worth millions of dollars because he's set to inherit hundreds of millions of dollars when his father dies. I can't imagine that Lord Mike.
Drinking warm water with cinnamon before bed eliminates this parasite from the pancreas and resets blood sugar levels.
Farmer, who, touts his interfaith activity.
Oh yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to get Rumble. We're gonna have these watch parties. I guess I'm gonna have to get Rumble. How much is their subscription? Because I can't keep doing these ads. Oh Lord. God. Oh Lord. I get you want to have your ads and stuff, but good grief.
And talks about how horrible anti-Semitism is and how terrible October 7th was, is very happy with his husband, with his son's choice of a wife. I just cannot imagine. We can go to the chat and see what people have to say. What do you think? Do you think that Lord Michael Farmer is happy with his son's choice? I think somebody just sent a super chat. Let's scroll up and see the message. Thought I saw one. Yep. Page, we need more identifiable information connecting George Farmer to the August 2023 DUI. The cult is insisting this is some other George Farmer. It's not. What are the odds that this George Farmer would list Candace Owens' manager as the work number? It is the George Farmer. Okay. We don't need any more other identifying information. Candace Owens and George Farmer could have come out and denied it. They haven't come out again and denied it since I posted the receipts. So Candace Owens is a pathological liar, and they are not going to make an issue of this or sue over this, because then there's discovery and God knows what else we would find out. Like, personally, I'm taking this information to DHS. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to file an official complaint and recommend there be a formal investigation with DHS. I think that George Farmer should be deported. I mean, this could arguably be a form of immigration fraud if he lied on his forms with the Immigration and Naturalization Services. So I will be filing an official complaint with DHS, and I think that they need to be investigating this. I think that George Farmer should be deported. And if Candace Owens wants to be a perpetual cunt, then she can move back to the UK with her British husband. That's what I'm going to be doing. That is what I will be doing.
Uh-oh, Candace. I'm packing you up, girl.
So, anyway.
Oh,
I think that this is totally insane that people, and look, I appreciate the super chat, but the fact that people are saying that we need more identifiable information. What are the odds that a George Farmer, random George Farmer, is listing Savannah Jacoby, who is the manager of Candace Owens, on the arrest report? I mean, come on, give me a break. Give me a break.
What do you mean identify information?
There's no way that there's another George Farmer out there who's listing Savannah Jacoby as the contact number on the arrest report. There's just no way.
Okay, I said this in the beginning, but to the Candy Ass Code members, do a FOIA request to the Nashville Police Department and ask them for all the records so they can release to you. And then you can see all of that personal identifiable information for yourself. Understand, they will not put his social security number on there. And if he lied about his date of birth, that is problematic for him, because the information that will be listed on his driver's license, such as his name, address, date of birth, driver's license number will not always be released to the public, depending on who's requesting, what it's being used for. They have laws. You want PII? Like, I don't need to know his driver's license number. That's not necessary. The booking picture is also available to the public. The police body cam will give you all the confirmation you need, because there's no way you will not recognize him in not only the police body camera footage, but the police SUV dash cam or the vehicle dash. So you could get 2 pieces of video footage if you FOIA the information. You can get the police body camera footage, and you can get the dash cam footage from the police unit vehicle. Put in the FOIA request. Why are you expecting Lord Loomer to do it all? Y'all can do it. The whole mommy slews, fake wannabe CIA investigators, Candace Owens, put in a FOIA request and get the body camera. And then you can visually see George in the videos yourself. You know, because that's a thought. God.
How do you send a super chat? You have to click the little $sign at the bottom of the Rumble page. Thank you. Someone said, we don't need more receipts. You brought receipts like Bongino does. Yeah, that's right. That's absolutely. Maybe my producer can show how to send the super chat. People are asking in the chat, maybe we can do a demo, if it will let you do a demo. I don't know if it will let you do a demo. Might. When you go to the chat, there should be a button where you can put a message in the bottom when you're watching the show. If you're signed in, you have to download the Rumble app in order to do it. You have to be signed in, and then you can click on the $sign and send in a chat.
One more thing.
But if you can't figure that out, you can also just go to buymeacoffee.com/Laura Loomer, and you can enter an amount there and make a donation in support of my independent reporting and all of the work I do here at Loomer Unleashed. All right, that's enough crazy candy for today. Now, let's get into Tucker Carlson, another lunatic member of the woke Reich who...
Okay, do y'all want to watch this Tucker one? Because I really don't care about Tucker. I'm going to be honest. I have no interest in the crackhead Mickey Mouse. I have none. None at all. All right. If y'all want to keep watching for the Tucker, hit the 4. If you want to see the Tucker part, hit the 4. Hit the 4. So many people watching. Oh, look at God. We got over 350 people in the chat. Hit that like button. Hit the 4 if you want to see the crackhead Mickey Mouse segment of Tucker. Hit the 4. Hit the 4. Hit the 4. Let me know. Let me know. Nope, 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 nope. See a lot of nopes. Uh-oh. Think the nopes are going to get it. Yeah, I think the nopes are going to get it. I'm seeing a lot more nopes than 4s. Lisa says 4. Juju said 4. Tammy said 4. Mama said 4, 4. I see some no's. No. 4, 4. Do more, Candace. No. No. The no's got it. I'm sorry, y'all. Here's what I will do. If y'all want, we'll do a separate live stream for the crackhead Mickey Mouse. I don't care for Tucker Carlson. He's no one of interest to me. I'm just being honest. Tucker Carlson is not an interesting person to me. He's just not. I have no interest in keeping up that clown child. I already had to go in on Brandon Tatum's clown ass today. Y'all go check that out. Oh, I'll let him have it. Shout out to Jay Witt. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I appreciate all of you all. The nose got it. No one wants to see crackhead Mickey Mouse Tucker Carlson. So so no, we're good. We're good on him, child. Candace, you are a headache in and of itself. Okay. So before we go, we gotta put this up. Let's see here. Where is it? Where is it? Hold on. Where is it? I'm looking for something, y'all. Bear with me. I'm gonna scan it. I almost got it. Hold on. I'm gonna scan it. Where is my... Oh, here it is. All right, y'all. Seeing that we have reached a conclusion, Laura Loomer is on it. She's keeping her foot on Candace's neck. And we are here for it. Candace, you done screwed up. They're going to get that police body camera footage. Y'all, say hello to Easter Source. A whole dinosaur that people did not know existed until now. Originally coined here from the Luxters here in the LLC. Yeastosaurus. Coming to a spitball theater near you. Candace, stop spending all this money on these moo-moos. Overpriced shirt for what? A whole moo-moo. Was there nothing else you could wear? Candace, you had this coming, girl. See, Candace, you should not have to call somebody the R word and falsely accuse them of committing whole heinous crimes to be able to clap back at someone. That shows you lack creativity, girl. Yeastosaurus just sums you up so perfectly. Y'all know Grimace has got to be down there itching and a burning. Tomorrow we're going to have a watch party for Fax Me. We're waiting on a collab with him to be on his show. I'm excited. I might reach out to Laura Loomer and piss off everybody and have her in the LLC and see how that goes. Oh, man. Candace, you going to tell us who this boy was you was living with for 6 months at 14 years old or what? Your candy ass cult members are calling me a liar. I don't know why. So here's the video where she said it on Russell Brand's show. And I will tell you the timestamp is at 4 minutes, 18 seconds. Candace said her parents kicked her out the house. And she had to go live with her boyfriend for 6 months at 14 years old. There you go. There's the video link. Go to that video. 4 minutes, 18 seconds is where she starts to talk about her childhood that she lied like hell about. Good luck to that. Because they love proving me wrong. All right. Yeastosaurus, you're an evil witch. You suck. And Candace, you can kiss my ass. I hope you all enjoyed this watch party. This was fun. Hit the like button and share this clip. I guess I'll be reaching out to Laura Loomer. Maybe we'll see if we can have her on. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. All right. Y'all tune in to the Candace Marathon this evening if you can. If not, I will see you all in the next one. Lady Luck Club out. Deuces.